Hello, welcome and welcome back to this channel. My name is Aston and I am an artist. And in this video, I would like to share with you my 2025 favorite art supplies. I made more art this year than I have in, I don't know how long, a really long time. And I also tried a lot of new art supplies. I experimented with new techniques and I really fell in love with some products and just wanted to tell you about the things that I've been loving this year. I had a good year. I had a very arty year, filled with performance, and I think I'm surprised by the sort of visual arts direction that my life has taken, but I'm psyched about it. It definitely has brought me the most joy in the past year out of all my creative pursuits. So thank you so much for being here, and let's dive right into it. These are all my favorite art supplies of 2025, and it's a lot, so grab a cup of tea if you would like, and I will just go through everything one at a time and tell you what I like about the supply and maybe a little bit about how I used it. I don't have time to swatch everything, but maybe I'll swatch a couple of these like pens and pencils for you. Yeah, I love watching these kind of videos and I hope that you do as well. I know I've said already many times, I went to Japan this year. I took a big trip to Japan for my birthday. And it's hard to believe that was already 6 months ago that I went to Japan. And I was lucky enough to pick up a bunch of paint over there. And let's start with paint because I think paint is the thing that I'm most excited about at the moment and what has been most exciting for me over the past year. I don't know, I guess my heart wants to paint. So when I went to Japan, I was able to pick up a lot of paint there for much cheaper than I would be able to pick it up here in the States. I know a lot of these things are available, but they're Japanese brands, and so they're a lot more reasonably priced if you get them over there in Japan. I really fell in love with gouache in a tube this year, in particular Holbein gouache. Yeah, when I went to Sekaido in Tokyo, I was able to pick up the full set of the artist gouache Irodori. So I have one for every season. I guess I only brought out the winter one because it's winter at the moment. The boxes are so beautiful. I love this crane. I have a crane tattoo. But it's just the most beautiful set of paints. And they all work beautifully together, all the seasons. And I put them into these travel palettes. So in this one, I have fall and winter. And in this one, I have spring and summer. Oh, it's a little hard to read the labels. I should rewrite those. So yeah, I'll just give you a quick peek. So here's each collection. No, this way, okay. So over here we have spring, summer, fall, and winter. This is also winter. And then these are 4 Holbein whites, artist gouache that I had. And they made an excellent travel palette. When I put them into these smaller palettes, they travel really well. As you can see, there's some cracking, and I will admit I'm not like the neatest. I tend to blend in the pans, which isn't the best habit, but yeah, even though there's some cracking, they're still really, in there really solidly, and they travel very well. And it makes it just so easy to carry these with you wherever you go. They reactivate beautifully with water. I bought the full set in Sakura in Tokyo, and if you're an art supply enthusiast, which you must be if you're watching this video, if you go to Tokyo, you have to go to the Shinjuku Sakura art supply store, which is where I picked up all of these, and it's just beautiful paint. This one, the Irodori, is a standard regular artist gouache, so it's water-based and reactivatable with water, but I used it a bunch this year, and it's just a wonderful, beautiful paint, and I'm so excited to keep using it. This is it's a plain Holbein palette, and I have a sticker from each of the 3 places I went on my Japan trip. I got this little palette in Japan, and this sticker is from Hokkaido. It's a snow fairy bird that is native to Hokkaido, and they're very proud of this adorable bird. I have Hello Kitty from Kyoto, and then I love Taiko Pop Tap, and here is the little drum on the Tokyo Tower. So I can remember everywhere that I went on my trip, and inside of this is my Holbein Artist Watercolors. I have the 24 set of granulating colors that I also picked up at Sakura in Tokyo. And I kind of picked it up on a whim. I hadn't tried Holbein watercolor in a tube. I have never used watercolor in a tube. I love these. They are beautiful, and from this paint I have fallen in love with granulating paint. And every color in here has beautiful granulation. Some of them have more than one pigment. I don't know if you can see here, there's some green in this blue when it dries, and in this blue there's some purple when it dries. These are all really special in their own way, and I've just loved using them. And they also translate really well from the tube into a palette. So if you like granulating paint at all, or if you love paint with a bloom effect, this is an excellent paint. These also, the Gouache Irodori, some of them have wonderful bloom effect if you use a lot of water, if you like that kind of thing. I know that some people like that and some people don't. I love granulation and bloom effect, and yeah, I loved these. I used them a lot over the past year, and I will continue to use them. I'm so excited to see what else I can make with them. I actually made a really big project, my biggest art project of the year actually, with both of these paints, the Holbein granulating watercolor and the Gouache Irodori, and I will have a video coming out about that art project, a separate video coming out soon, so stay tuned for that. Okay. And yeah, this is a good little palette, the Holbein. I think it's aluminum travel palette. These are gorgeous. I picked this up last winter. Before I went to Japan, I was very curious to try acrylic gouache. This is just the Holbein set of 12 colors lesson set. I picked this up at Blick Art Supply, which is my local art supply store. It was quite expensive. I think I paid around like $90 US, which is pretty pricey. This is excellent paint. I super recommend it. It's acrylic gouache, which means that once it's dry, it's dry. You can't re-wet it or reactivate it. But I'm a mixed media artist, and I love using different media in combination. This makes a great base layer because once it's dry, and a lot of other media go really great on top of it. Color pencil, Posca pen, Or you can do like a great base with acrylic gouache and then paint over top of it with regular artist gouache. So I love these. They kind of feel more like traditional gouache when you're painting with them, but they dry quick like acrylic paint. But they dry beautifully matte. Yeah, it's a quick drying paint. So I love this. And so yeah, I got this from Blick, I think at the very beginning of the year, like in January. And I'm excited to keep using them. I use them a lot. I think this is a different tube of white, I think, than came with the set. And maybe this black also, I replaced them because I went through the black and the white. But yeah, this is great paint as well. I tried Holbein paint in 2025 and I'm obsessed. I'm so excited to keep trying other Holbein products and keep using the ones that I already have. I love my art supply collection overall, and even though I did try and use a lot of new things this year, I really used like my entire collection. And I love using what I have. So I encourage you to do that with your own collection. In fact, I swatched out almost everything that I have in my collection, and I put all the swatches up on the wall. Maybe I'll show you a picture of that because I find it really inspiring to just look at the wall and see what's there in my collection. And it also gets me really excited about using what I already have. A bunch of my supplies, I swatch them out on different kinds of paper, different color paper, and it's really inspiring to look at those. And I also have some different material combinations on the wall, but yeah, I've loved just like seeing what I have because then I'm moved to use it. Or sometimes I'll be like, oh, what was that color that I really liked and what collection is that a part of, you know, so I know where to go find it. Yeah, so that's been really cool. Okay, something I also tried for the first time this year is watercolor ground. This is the transparent watercolor ground from Daniel Smith. This is the first product from Daniel Smith that I ever tried. This is a very good one. If you don't know what watercolor ground is, this is a transparent one. I think it also comes in, I know it comes in a white color as well. But you can pretty much put it on any surface, and then that surface will become something that you can use to, you can paint watercolor on a surface that otherwise, if you didn't put the watercolor ground on, you wouldn't be able to paint in watercolors. So, for example, maybe I can insert a photo here. The big art project that I was talking about earlier is a project that I painted on transparency with granulating watercolor and gouache, the ones that I just talked about. I painted those on transparency and then I put the transparency on a light board. But in order to get the paint to stick to the transparency, I painted the transparency with a watercolor ground. And actually, I used sandpaper first on the transparency so that the watercolor ground would have something to stick onto. But it worked great and it took the paint really well. And I've used up almost this entire thing. But yeah, if you want to paint with watercolor or gouache on a surface that ordinarily would not accept those materials, this is really cool. I highly recommend it. This is another paint, well, it could be paint related. I use it a lot for pastels, oil pastels, is the Krylon Workable Fixatif. Actually just bought a new one this summer, but I've used it before many times. It's really great to spray a layer or so over things that you don't want to smear, like chalk pastel, oil pastel. And I actually use this most this year on top of, I put down a layer of like my gouache Irodori, and I knew I wanted to keep painting on top of it, but I was worried about upsetting the layers underneath. And if you put like a solid 2 layers of fixative on top of a dry layer of traditional gouache, you're less likely to upset your underlayers when you paint on top of them. It's not a perfect system, but I do think that it worked for me. I love this. It's a great product. Definitely try to use it outside if you can. Careful of the fumes, but yeah, this is trusty, and I'll always have it in my collection. Is acrylic markers, in particular Posca markers. These are the only ones that I have tried so far, but I really like them. I'm interested to try other brands as well, and maybe there's, you know, less expensive ones that are just as good. So these are, these have like a thicker nib, and I also have two sets. So these are the earth colors. These are the bold dark colors. Yeah, these are great sets. I think there is a slight overlap, which I didn't realize. I think this yellow is a repeat in both sets. One comes with a white, one comes with an ivory, and I think, is it one of the greens that repeats, or maybe this brown also is a repeat? I think there's one other repeat. Anyway, so then you have two of the same color. But these are great, and I've really been enjoying them a lot. I got all of these from Blick, I think, at different times throughout the year. The thicker ones were the first ones that I tried. They make a great base for mixed media. If you want to cover a lot of ground, the ones with a thicker nib really do that. And then they take any material, really, that I've wanted to put on top of them, that I've wanted to layer on top of them. They make a great base. They also will go on top of other media really well. Even things that you might think, like, I don't know if I can put anything else on top of this, like a waxy material, like a color pencil or something like that. But these are great as like a base or on top of other media, and I'm excited to keep using them. I really enjoyed using these Posca acrylic markers over the year. Oh, back to painting. This one is a Holbein branded spray bottle, but any, you know, little spray bottle will do. It's great for if you have travel watercolor or gouache palettes, or if you're just painting in general with watercolor or gouache that's already dried and you need to reactivate it. Once I started using it, I use it all the time, like every time I paint with my watercolor or gouache palettes. This is super handy to have on hand. Other painting, these are just some travel water brushes. This one has like a thicker brush. This one has a bit of a thinner brush. I have a couple different kinds. I think these ones are made by Pentel. But you can find them online. They're pretty reasonable. They're great to have when you travel, or if you want to paint somewhere and you want to make less mess. These are really great to have on hand. Sometimes I want to paint in the living room without making a mess, and I'll use these. But yeah, for travel, 100%. These are super awesome, and they're quite easy to find. When I paint, I like to tape down my edges usually with washi tape. I use washi tape for all kinds of things, but especially for painting. And I think the brand I use the most is probably this MT tape. I think it comes from Japan, but it's quite easy to find here in the States. This is from a roll that I got in Japan. But yeah, I use a lot of washi tape in my art practice. It doesn't necessarily have to be this brand, but I think if I were to count the rolls, I would have more of this brand than any other. I think MT washi tape. Solid. Another thing I use a lot in my work is color pencils. I'm going to talk about two different kinds. This is a Prismacolor set that I've had for years and years and years. It's very well loved, as you can see. And I think I lost one of the original colors and I replaced it with this Prismacolor colorless blender. Prismacolor is a wax-based color pencil, and I love them. As you can see, I've used some more than others, but a lot of places carry these open stock, so if you run out of one, you can just replace it with a new one. So yeah, I think this was originally a 36 set, but I lost one, so now I have 35 and a colorless blender. These are great. They're really smooth. They have a really rich color payoff. In my mixed media, I use them on top of paint a lot of the time. They go great on top of like poster color, which is a lot like gouache, gouache, watercolor, acrylic gouache. I don't know if they make this set. I mean, I think the colors would probably still be the same in the 36 color set, but this one I think came in its travel case. I don't know if they still make the 36 in the travel case, but it's cool. I like this travel case, and yeah, these have served me well for many years. I did try a new color pencil this year, and I'm gonna tell you about it. It's the Derwent drawing pencil. I have the 24 set. I think they just expanded it by a bunch, and there's like is it 72 or 74 now? Something, they added all of these colors, but this is the original like landscape / natural woodland, sort of nature-y colors. These are also a wax-based colored pencil, but it looks like they have a thicker lead than the Prismacolor. I love these, they are gorgeous. The colors are really rich, really vibrant. They look great on so many different kinds of paper. They look great on top of dried paint, acrylic gouache, watercolor. They're just so beautiful. And if you love these kind of more natural color, if you love the more natural colorway, and if you like colored pencils in general, these ones are beautiful. I'm so happy that these came into my life this year. Yeah, they're definitely gonna remain in my regular rotation. Total MVPs, the Derwent drawing pencil. Highly recommend. When I was in Japan, I bought some clips, and I bought some of the Clampy, but the Clampy did not make the MVP list, but these are called Ukanmuri Clips, and they are total heroes. I got two with Mofu Sand in Japan. I bought them all in Japan. Actually, I haven't seen them in the States, but that doesn't mean that you couldn't find them. The funny thing is, I think they're actually made by Bandai Namco, like the video game Bandai Namco. Maybe something else here, Sunstar also, maybe it's like both of these brands. I thought that was really interesting that they're made by Bandai Namco, but these are awesome, and they hold more, they keep more together than the Clampy. They open wider than the Clampy, and they hold more pages. For example, in the Sketchbook, I think they just do a better job. They're a little larger, I mean, not just in like how wide that they open, but they're longer as well. Yeah, I like the Clampy, but I love these Ukanmuri Clips. I like my Skechers, but I love my Prada backpack. Is that how it goes? These are so dope. I think I got a couple more, although they're scattered around my home. I use them all the time. Yeah, these are so great. If you see one, you should definitely pick it up. And they come with cute characters, like a lot of the time. Right when I was leaving Japan, I saw some Sanrio Ukanmuri Clips, and I was so tempted to buy them, but I had bought enough clips already. But yeah, super practical and super cool. This is my soon-to-be finished sketchbook, and soon I will be going through and giving you a tour of it. But until then, I just want to tell you about some pens and pencils that I really liked using this year. I'll also talk about paper and things like that, but I don't want this video to get too long. The eraser I'm most likely to use is a Magic Rub eraser. I think all the branding has been loved off of this one, but yeah, if I'm taking a travel art bag anywhere, it's always gonna have a Magic Rub eraser. I think they really get the job done. I tried other ones this year, and some of them I really liked, but I maybe haven't used other erasers enough to know how much I like those ones or not. But yeah, that's another thing that I've been using my entire life, is a Magic Rub eraser. When I was in Japan, I picked up a couple of these Pilot Color Eno 0.7 mechanical pencils, and I will give you a little taste of what these are like. And they erase. They're really great for laying like foundational sketches down. I think you can find them here. I know I've seen them on like Amazon and the replacement leads. But a 0.7 is my favorite mechanical pencil width of lead, and I think these only come in a 0.7. But they're really, really great. I've heard, although I don't know how, sometimes they break, but that's okay. I don't know how to do this because I am not that techie, but I've heard that the blue one is like very easy to then like take it out later digitally. So if you like scan your sketches and then work on them digitally as I often do, I've heard that like something about light blue pencil is really easy to sort of take away and post on a computer. I don't really know how to do that, but let me know if you have done it. These are great, yeah. Pilot Color Eno. I'm so psyched I picked these up in Japan. I think I got these at Itoya. It's a really cool stationery store in Ginza, Tokyo. I do like a fine liner, and I used them a lot this year, especially if I want to like go over a sketch before then going in with watercolor or watercolor pencil or something. If you need a waterproof pen, these ones are really great. These Sakura Micron, classic. These have been around for a while. I have one is sepia and one is just plain black. This one is a number 1. This is a 08. I tend to like usually a thicker liner, but I think one of the ones I have is quite thin to show you. Yeah, these are great, waterproof, classic. I also used a lot this Copic. It's Copic multi-liner, water and Copic marker proof. This is a teeny one, 0.25, and I think I already had this in my collection somehow, but I can't tell you how or where or when I got it. And I haven't seen these anywhere since, but I did really like this. This one has a much finer nib. I do really like this one as well. And when I was in Japan, I picked up 2 Fude pens from Tombow. These are both waterproof, I think, and the only difference is one is a brush pen. But yeah, these are waterproof. There are a lot of great Fude pens out there. A lot of them are not waterproof, so make sure that you figure that out before you purchase them. But yeah, they're pretty reasonably priced, especially in Japan, and really love these waterproof ones from Tombow. A different mechanical pencil than previously in my life has made it into my top of the list. It's a Pentel P207 0.7mm mechanical pencil. I got this off the internet, I think probably from Amazon. I did not get this in Japan, but I had one already at home, and I just had been reaching for it over my other mechanical pencils, and I recently got a couple more. They have these cool metallic barrels now. It's just a regular, like, graphite mechanical pencil, but it comes with this really nice eraser also. And I love this one. It's nice to write with, and it's beautiful and functional. What more can one want? Yeah, Pentel P207. I also included my Apple Pencil, Procreate. The Procreate app is something I use all the time. It's a digital painting, drawing app for iPad. It's super reasonably priced. It's like a one-time fee of like circa $15 or something like that. And it's just so amazing. It's such an amazing drawing program. And I recommend it. And oftentimes I'll do something in my sketchbook, I'll scan it. That's another thing I used a lot this year is my scanner. I'll scan it in, I'll scan it into a photo, and then I'll put the photo into Procreate and draw on top of it digitally. So yeah, Procreate, I think it's only for iPad, sadly, and not other tablets, but if you have an iPad, if you're an artist, I super recommend Procreate app. I didn't really share any other of these supplies, but I do a lot of paper art with like cut paper. So in that case, I use a lot of scissor and glue and art papers. And yeah, I usually use just Elmer's school glue. This one has a watermelon scent. Let's see. But yeah, it's a clear washable glue. So if you make a mistake, if you really need to unstick that piece that you just glued down, you can do. Yeah, this is a great little glue stick. Okay, okay, yes, I'll talk a little bit about sketchbooks. I used 3 different brands of sketchbooks this year. This is a Stillman and Birn Nova series. I think the Nova is like their mixed media series. The first Stillman and Birn sketchbook I tried was the Nova series Tri-Tone. So it has tan tone paper, gray tone, and black tone paper. And I knew already that I loved tan tone, but through using that other Stillman and Birn Nova sketchbook with the 3 different tones, I loved using the gray tone, and I really fell in love with using black tone paper this year. A lot. And these colored pencil, the color Enos look amazing on black paper, along with Prismacolors look great on black paper, and also the Derwent drawing pencils look like gorgeous on a black paper. But yeah, the Stillman and Birn Nova series black paper in that tritone sketchbook is really what made me fall in love with using black tone paper. And now I also really like gray tone paper. I didn't know that. A white tone paper is not my favorite. It's a bright white. I definitely prefer ivory. I think tan tone is like my number one. This is a beautiful thick paper. It takes a quick review. It takes most media really, really beautifully. If you use too much water, it can pill and buckle, but especially if you're painting in thick layers, this is great. I can't tell you the thickness of the paper off the top of my head, but I like it. I like the sketchbook. I rebought this Tantone one after I finished the tritone. And yeah, it's been great. I would recommend it for sure. I'll share with you quickly some other sketchbooks and tools that I used this year and really loved. I'm almost finished with this as well. This is a Royal Talens Art Creations sketchbook. And I had never used one before. I really, really like it. It has this nice ivory toned paper, which I much prefer to bright white. This is the thinnest, I think, that I'll show you out of all the sketchbooks that I used. It takes most media really, really well. It's especially good with thick, not especially, it's good with thick paint, much like the previous one, but this paper is thinner, so like lots of water, it's gonna pill and it's gonna buckle. But otherwise, it's a great sketchbook. These are really affordable also, the Royal Talens Art Creation. So yeah, if you're a mixed media artist, I recommend it, especially if you're on a budget. This is a great sketchbook, and it comes in all kinds of sizes with all kinds of different color covers. But yeah, the Royal Talens Art Creation. Yeah, I'm almost done with this, and I'll give you a tour of it as well. But yeah, this is my first art creation sketchbook, and I've loved it. It's a great, great sketchbook. This is the Stillman and Birn Nova Tritone that I was telling you about, that has the gray paper and the black tone paper. Yeah, this one is great too. The Stillman and Birn Nova series, I recommend for mixed media. This is also one that I tried for the first time this year. Here's another Ukanmuri clip. This is the Strathmore Mixed Media Sketchbook. I don't love that it's bright white paper, but everything else about it I am in love with, so I will forgive it that. Yeah, I'm almost finished with this as well, so I'll be having like a bunch of sketchbook tours for you soon. Again, I don't have the stats on hand for like how thick this paper is and what the kind of press it is. But my favorite thing for this sketchbook is this is a great sketchbook for paint. Something about, I don't know if it's the thickness, but the something about the paper. This sketchbook loves paint and wet media more than any other mixed media sketchbook that I've ever tried, and I love that about it. This is granulating watercolor, and it looks beautiful on this paper. So it feels more like a hot press watercolor paper feels. It doesn't have a lot of groove and texture. It's a really smooth paper. But I find that every paint I use on it looks great. And you can get these pages really wet, and they probably will buckle, but it doesn't really pill. I definitely would recommend this. I will be repurchasing it when I finish it. And yeah, for wet media, other media looks great in here too. And like I said, you know, bright white is not my favorite, but the paper itself is so good, and it really can take paint. And that's why this is a hero, the Strathmore Mixed Media Sketchbook. Generally, if I made a loose painting on an individual piece of paper, it was this Strathmore Tantone Mixed Media paper. Let's see, this is the 400 series, 9x12, 184 pound, 300 GM. Yeah, it's a thick, really nice thick paper. I love the tone. It takes paint very well. You have to really clamp it down or tape it down because it will buckle with like a lot of water, but every individual acrylic wash painting that I did on this paper, and yeah, it's really great. I think they make this same weight in gray tone, maybe black tone, no, gray tone, definitely, maybe black tone, no, I don't know about that, gray tone as well. Yeah, I like this. I really would recommend it. Another thing I used a lot was transparency paper, like if you're my age, like what someone would put on an overhead projector. Just like a clear piece of paper. I have kind of a milky toned one, and I have just a regular clear see-through paper, and those are what I made the big maps project on, that I used the sandpaper and the watercolor ground and then painted on top. And I loved using transparency. I don't think there's like a particular brand that I could recommend. I just found two different ones, I think, on Amazon, and they were both fine and great. But yeah, one is like a totally see-through, and the other one is a see-through, but a bit of a more like milky tone. This is a self-healing cutting mat that I use like almost all the time. This one is just the one from Blick. That's more reasonably priced than other name brands. But this is great because it also has a ruler in centimeters and also inches, which comes really in handy, but it's also just a great work surface. If you don't want to make a mess, you know, I definitely recommend this. I have more than one, in fact, and if I'm working on a project, I'm working on the project on top of one of these. And then this is, I don't actually know the brand, but this is just a large clipboard. I think this one is 18 by 18. You can get it at any art supply store. Again, it's cat hair. I couldn't tell you the brand, but it has this like, you can clip a piece of paper in here, also tape things down on it all the time. I use it similarly if I'm working on a project. I'm usually working on it on top of this surface. I want to say this one is 18 by 18. Perhaps that sounds right. So yeah, definitely recommend these. I'm going to give an honorable mention to two things that I used a lot this year, but they just weren't quite favorites. But mostly because this came recently into my collection. This is the Derwent Graph Tint, which is a graphite water-based paint. I really like the colors. They're those like natural earthy colors. But because it's graphite, when they dry, they kind of have this like, not metallic, but that sheen that like regular pencil graphite has. And I really like that. And also I think the colors are beautiful. So this is newer to my collection, but I've been using it a lot, and I do really like this Derwent Graph Tint. And honorable mention also goes to PanPastel. I tried PanPastel for the first time this year, which is just it's like a regular chalk pastel. It just comes in a pan. and the pigment is pressed into the pan. This is like a little landscape set that I curated myself. And I like using these as pastels, but what I really love using them for is I use a lot of tracing in my work. I'll trace one image onto another surface, and PanPastel makes the greatest transfer. If I have like a printed copy of a photo or something that I want to use on another piece of paper, and I want, you know, to get the image exactly like I want to trace the image, I'll take the printout, you turn it over, you rub with like a paper towel or an old makeup sponge or something, PanPastel on the back of the image that you want to transfer, and then you flip it over and put it on top of your work surface, like paper, and then you trace over the image like you use tracing paper, but the PanPastel is on the back. And yeah, usually like tape the image down, you know, you really have to make sure it's not going to move while you're tracing. But when you take the tracing image away, you have a perfect, it's like a carbon copy. And yeah, I use, let's see, this color a lot when I make a transfer. These also, they can erase, maybe not like a color like this, but I think I use like these colors often when I'm doing a transfer. So yeah, if you are like, I don't know how to get this image, I don't know how to trace this, I don't have like a projector or a light board or other tracing tools, print out the image, rub PanPastel on the back, and it's such a great way to transfer if you do a lot of tracing in your artwork. These are beautiful on their own, and yeah, I really use them in other ways, and I do enjoy using them, and I want to keep using them, and maybe I can, once I use them more, I can tell you about better ways to use them. But yeah, honorable mention to Graph Tint and also PanPastel. And thus concludes my favorite art supplies of 2025. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and thank you for being here. You're very welcome here on this channel. And even if you just watched one video this year or several videos this year, I just want to thank you for tuning in. And as of now, this is a small community, but I really appreciate the warm wishes that I've received from some viewers. So stay tuned, and I hope to bring you a lot more art content in 2026. Happy holidays. Thank you again for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.